We all remember Aaliyah's iconic role in the film Queen of the Damned. It's based on the third novel in the series The Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice. Today, we're here to explore all about Akasha, the mother of all vampires, the first vampire to ever exist. But before we get into this exploration, do like the video. It helps us to know that you like the content. It might be a small click for you, but it means a lot to us. Now it's time to meet the Queen of the Damned. How Akasha became the queen. Hailing from Uruk, modern-day Iraq, Akasha was born even before the pyramids. She married the king of Kemet, modern-day Egypt. She and Enkil were a rather happy couple. They wanted to ensure peace in their kingdom, and therefore encouraged the ban of cannibalism, and pushed their people toward peace and vegetation of grains. Although they were not the first to take this path, they were the first leaders to encourage and introduce this idea to their subjects. Akasha was loved by her subjects dearly and appreciated by everyone, making her rule prominently peaceful. As time passed, Akasha's interest grew in the realm of spirits. As she dived deeper into the subject, she invited the twin witch sisters, Makare and Maharet, to learn more about her growing interest. The sisters declined because they were performing their mother's funeral rites, consuming her brain and heart. When Akasha finds out about this, she grabs the opportunity to arrest the twins on account of cannibalism and drags them to Kemet. In her court, Akasha spares the twins and demands them to answer several questions that intrigue her about witchcraft. When her questions are not fully and properly answered, Akasha is enraged and forces the twins into jail in the name of blasphemy. Akasha attempts to ask the questions again, and this time Makare summons the powerful spirit of Amel to answer her questions. Amel, the enraged powerful spirit, threatens Akasha, which angers her further. She orders her loyal servant Kaiman to assault the twins in front of the entire court to humiliate them. As she bans the twins from the court, Amel stays back, pestering Akasha and Enkil night and day, driving them to insanity. This also sparked a rebellion among the cannibals, who still prevailed in the kingdom and never liked the leaders. One day, the rebels sneak into their castle, stabbing the couple multiple times, causing fatal injuries. Akasha's soul leaves her body, and Amel steals the opportunity to fuse himself into her soul and thrust himself into her body, making her the first vampire ever. Meet Queen Akasha. One of the most beautiful women to exist, Akasha's presence was one to behold. She had long black hair adorned with her iconic headpiece. Her deep, dark eyes and sharp face are only indications of her timeless beauty. Slender but powerful, Akasha donned traditional Egyptian wear, which only elevated her physique. Even when she was turned to stone, her skin shone and reflected the moonlight. Devoid of any blemishes, she was an example of eternal beauty. As a person, Akasha was a benevolent queen. Obsessive by nature, she wouldn't stop until she would achieve her desires, and this was something that would eventually lead to her downfall. Her obsessions turned her into a selfish, nihilistic person who wouldn't care for morality or compassion. Her needs soon became solely for herself, and she stopped caring for anyone around her. This is also what made her dangerous. Life after transformation. The first thing Akasha does after her transformation is turn her husband Enkil into the second vampire of the world, by draining him of his blood and giving him hers. The couple then embarks on a savage hunt to assassinate all the attackers, and hence they discover their newfound superhuman strength. They also discover that sunlight burns them, and therefore Akasha immediately sends Kaiman to fetch the twin witches to explain their newfound nature and way of life. The twins arrive and explain their condition, and the need for human blood that they're having due to Amel's soul being inside Akasha. She also explains how this need for human blood dilutes as more vampires are created. To substantiate her claims, Akasha turns Kaiman into a vampire against his will. As the twins are proven to be right, Akasha is not happy. She therefore decides to sentence them to death. But even their sentences are not easy. She makes sure to force torture upon them by amputating their eyes and tongue. Kaiman, however, comes to their rescue. He saves the twins and turns them into vampires, giving them additional strength. As Akasha and Enkil battle the twins and Kaiman, they defeat them and send the twins in two different directions, hoping they will eventually die off. But as promised, Maharet keeps on creating new vampires, draining a couple of their bloodlusts. As they settle into their new life, one of their caretakers called Elder leaves them out in the sun to burn. This causes a mass loss to vampires worldwide, as all are set into immediate combustion. This is when Akasha seeks help from Marius, a newly turned vampire, to take them out of Egypt, and kills Elder like he never existed. For the next 2,000 years, the first vampires live under Marius' care as statues, and he treats them with utmost care and loyalty. Akasha's ever-growing strength. So what truly makes Akasha one of the most powerful vampires on Earth? Akasha possesses superhuman speed. Her speed was evident when she effortlessly destroyed the nightclub. She also has superhuman strength. I mean, she lifted off Lestat easily from his concert and flew away with him, hence making her ability of flight evident as well. Another added advantage of being a vampire is being gifted with immortality. Even after being alive for more than 2,000 years, Akasha doesn't age a day. This is a perk. Akasha can also practice pyrokinesis, which is the ability to control and manipulate fire. She can immediately set anyone ablaze, and this was clearly visible when she burnt the club down and even in the final battle. However, she herself is immune to any kind of harm caused due to fire. In the same way, just as other vampires cannot stand the sun, she can stand, walk, and even run in the sun. She's completely immune to the sun and fire. Just as she controls fire, she can control the cold and ice. Practicing cryokinesis in the books, Akasha imprisons Marius in ice. Pretty cool. She can also perform telekinesis and telepathy, as she easily flings objects and humans across the room, while also communicating with other vampires through telepathy. Being the first ever vampire, she truly became one of the hardest vampires to defeat. How does Akasha's story end? Queen of the Damned. Akasha was awakened by the violin of Lestat de Lioncourt in the 18th century. This was resented by both Enkil and Marius. Lestat went on to drink from her wrist, which gave him some of her powers, as he was sent away by Marius. However, Lestat's chapter opens up again when Akasha rises from her slumber as a statue, and begins her manhunt for Lestat, as his music appeals to her from across the world. Following his music, she lands in a bar in London called the Admiral Arms, where she encounters some vampires who plan to kill Lestat. Engaging her wrath, she burns the bar down, walking out of the place unharmed. In his pursuit, she later reaches his concert in Death Valley and saves him from some vampires trying to hurt him. She then takes him to her home, where they engage in transful intercourse, where Lestat completely submits to her. On the other hand, in Telemasca, a girl named Jessie, a researcher under her mentor David Talbot, is handed Lestat's diary, where he finds out about his encounter with Akasha back in the 18th century. Intrigued by Lestat, she follows him as their bond grows until she finds out her aunt Maharet is also part of the vampire cult. As everyone gets ready to go against Akasha, they decide to confront her at her home, where she has taken Lestat. As they all watch how she manipulates him, she makes a final deal for everyone to join her side. Little did she know, it was a lost battle for Akasha. Lestat surprisingly demands for his crown, and Akasha lets him drink from her arm, and he starts draining her, which alarms her. As the final battle ensues, the vampires try to drain off her blood, trying to end her bloodline. In the end, Maharet makes a sacrifice by drinking the last drop of Akasha's blood, which kills her instantly. Akasha's body turns into bronze, and thus ends her life and story. A queen that stood so powerful once drained off all her blood and soul, as Jessie and Lestat leave together hand in hand. Marvelous verdict. In all, Queen Akasha was never truly the villain. Even though she sometimes might be portrayed as one, she's truly just a product of her circumstances and passion. Okay, so maybe a little villainous, but it still doesn't sound fair to entirely call her a villain. What about you? Do you think she's a villain? Drop your views in the comment section down below and let us know what you think. Well, that's it for today, but if you like our content, do drop a like and subscribe to our channel. And remember, if you play the violin, be discreet. You might just awaken the next Akasha. Stay safe, take care, and goodbye.